Well, hello everybody. It's Charles Kemp, Mayor of Fairmont, and Jerome Chestnut, Town Manager. The Charles and Jerome show on a daily basis. I was just informed by our videographer. This is our 99th, our 90th, excuse me, our 90th show today that we've done, and that tells you something about transparency on our part. We want to make sure you know what's going on in Fairmont. So today, you can't take the school teacher out of some people. Today we're going to have a short lesson. I'm not going to give you time. I'm sure you were already prepared. So get your notebook, paper out, and your pencil. And I want to ask you a question at the end of this video, so you'll know. So I know you actually paid attention to this.
That's right.
Friday, this coming Friday, the 19th, is a national holiday. I'm sure you know that already. Maybe you don't. Juneteenth. My job and Mr. Chestnut's job is to invite you to our program that we have in the Heritage Center on Friday.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be run and produced and directed by our Mayor Pro Tem, a dear friend of mine and a former student, Heather Siebels. But before that, I think it would be important, Mr. Chestnut, that they know why. Because I guarantee you that I'm looking in a camera right now of people, some people that have no clue what Friday is about.
Yeah.
I bet my life on that. That's how sure I am. And that's simply because, number one, you didn't get the memo or you missed the class on Juneteenth. And the reason that you missed it was because it wasn't given.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. On January the 1st, 1863, and he was not a stupid man, Abraham Lincoln issued a document called the Emancipation Proclamation. I've issued a lot of proclamations since I've been mayor. All it is a few words on the paper saying we honor this, we respect that, whatever. He freed every slave in all the existing rebelling states.
Yes, sir.
Listen carefully. All the rebelling states. How many people do you think worked as slaves in the industries in Boston, Massachusetts? Textile mills. Of course they did. How many enslaved people were there who were house servants of rich, powerful people in New York City? Many.
Yes.
But that's not what the Emancipation Proclamation was. It was to free all the slaves immediately on January the 1st. Now, why did he pick that date? I'll tell you why. Because he had been waiting since July of 1861 for the South to lose a battle.
Yeah.
And his side win a battle so he could have victory on his side. The Battle of Antietam, Sharpsburg, Maryland, in September of 1862, was the bloodiest single day of fighting in the history of the United States.
Wow.
25,000 people killed in one day. But it was enough of a victory, Lincoln thought, and his war people thought, that he could issue this document. He wasn't going to issue it after a loss, but after a victory or a near victory. And on top of that, there was a small battle in Tennessee, Shiloh Church, Tennessee, where the North could have been calculate, we won. Well, we'll argue with you, but maybe you did. Those two battles helped Lincoln issue the Emancipation Proclamation. Did it make a difference in the South? Not one bit.
No.
So, fast forward to April of 1865. Robert E. Lee, surrounded, out of food,
Yes, sir.
out of ammunition, and Ulysses S. Grant, Lincoln's hand-picked final general that he fired everybody until he got to Grant, met at a small country town in Virginia, Appomattox Courthouse. I have to tell you this, I think this is important. The house they met in, the Robbins house, is the same house that was used as a field hospital at the Battle of Bull Run, at the first battle of the Civil War. And when that battle was over, the owner of that house, Mr. Robbins, said, I can't live here. We're going to be right in the middle of all of this. We're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So he sold his house and moved to a small town west of him, of there, Appomattox Courthouse.
Wow.
The war ended in his living room. Started in his backyard. They took the curtains down out of his to use them for bandages. took the doors off to use them for
Wow.
stretchers.
Yes, sir.
And then at the end, Robert E. Lee and Grant met in his house and ended the Civil War.
Wow.
And that was it. Some of the soldiers wanted to continue fighting. Lee said, no, it's over. Go home. April the 13th, 1865. They didn't have cell phones in those days.
That's
Didn't
right.
have anything but telegraphs.
That's right.
The word never got to Galveston, Texas. Apparently did not get to Galveston, Texas. Because the people, African American people who were living in Galveston, Texas, didn't know anything about it. But as soon as the war ended, the North pushed northern soldiers into every
Yes, sir.
area of the South to make sure people were paying attention and hostilities were over and nobody was going to violate laws. They were like the policemen.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, they had to tell the slaves in Galveston, Texas, that the war was over. A year and a half after it was over.
Yeah.
So on June the 19th, 1865, there was a big rush toward freedom. Everybody was happy, jumping around, screaming, hollering, and it was a celebration. Well, 1865, 2021, it's a long time.
Yes, sir.
Finally, the United States government passed a law making Juneteenth, June of the 19th, Juneteenth, if you put those two words together, a national holiday. And Fairmont was not going to be left out.
That's right.
Very good, very auspicious, and very involved former town commissioner and now Mayor Pro Tem Heather Siebels had a event last June 19th in the park. Very hot day. We survived, but this year she's having something different. Chestnut, won't you tell them what she's planning and what we're doing and your point of view about Juneteenth?
So I absolutely approve of this being a holiday, not only because it's my birthday. Also, that's a perk.
I left that out.
But it's when you talk about Juneteenth and you talk about what some of us refer to as Freedom Day, I think it reminds us of our past and how we should carry ourselves moving forward. Things that we are for, things that we're against. These items, these commiserations remind us what not to go back to. And for me, as a 48-year-old male, it shows the example to our youth of how we live and how we're supposed to treat people that's with us on a daily basis. We don't enslave them. We don't treat them bad. We honor them. We respect them. That's big. That's real big for the holiday for me. It's just a testament of where we were as a nation and where we are as a nation, and that we still have lots of things to fix in our nation. We still have what some people will call indentured servitude. There's human trafficker. There's slavery still across the globe in other countries, So this is a freedom that we celebrate here in the town of Fairmont. Our state and our feds has acknowledged the importance of recognizing this day and what that means for our past and our future. And again, our Mayor Pro Tem is taking this opportunity. You spoke about the event that she did last year at the park, and this year doing something for our seniors, those 55 and older, and bringing them to our Heritage Center and creating a good program for them to fellowship and for them to share stories together, and also, recognize this day and its importance of passing on that message to future generations. So it's going to be a tremendous event for our community. It's going to be a huge storytelling event for those in attendance and for those moving forward to share with their children about the importance of this event. So we're hoping that, if people don't have anything to do and people want to come out and join us, to join Commissioner Siebels for that event and the seniors and just have a positive time of fellowship, Mr. Mayor.
two things I want to add to what he said. I taught school for 44 years, high school. My very first year was 7th and 8th grade, language arts and social studies at Marietta Elementary School. But then I taught high school for the remaining years. And one thing I always did when we got to the Civil War and pre-Civil War, I have a series of photographs. I don't have them anymore. I had them at one time. I gave them to another teacher, and I made him promise me he would use them.
That's right.
Kids were kind of iffy, up and down. I'm just trying to get to lunch to be with my girlfriend kind of attitude. When I dropped the slave pictures on them, of the backs of some of the slaves,
Yes, sir.
and the chains and manacles, about 20 pictures, one right behind the other, not a sound in the room.
That's right.
You could literally have dropped a pin in my classroom on the linoleum floor and heard it drop. And then when we finished, I said, now, what do you think about that? Nobody spoke. Every class I've ever had has been the same. And finally some kid will raise his hand and say, is this some kind of horror director's made up pictures? I said, no. Men took those pictures,
Yes, sir.
those photographs, the old way, with the little box camera on a tripod. But those are the real deal.
Yes, sir.
I said, and that's how people lived. Absolutely. Men and women and children were separated at the auction block.
Yes, sir.
Taken to 2 different, 3 different, 4 different places. If you were lucky, fortunate, you had a house job.
Yes, sir.
If you did not, you worked outside.
Yes, sir.
This is the way it was in America. And if you believe that the Civil War was fought exclusively and only to rid this country of slavery, you're absolutely wrong.
That's right.
It was a large, I'd say 75 to 80% of the reason. But another part of the South's resistance was they didn't believe it was right for anybody to tell them how to live in their area.
That's right.
So it was about states' rights.
Yes, sir.
When General Winfield Scott, under the request of President Lincoln, offered Robert E. Lee the commanding position of General of the Armies at the beginning of the Civil War, Lee said to him these words, "Sir, my country is Virginia. I could no more raise my sword against Virginia
Yes, sir.
than I could kill my wife. Please go and tell President Lincoln that I regret with honor his invitation." Robert E. Lee's father and uncle signed the Declaration of Independence. There is no way on this earth that Robert E. Lee could have,
That's right.
as a cadet from the United States Army Military Academy, West
Military
Point,
Academy.
where he's the only person in the history of that entire institution, even until this second, who graduated without a demerit
Yeah.
for improper behavior,
That's right.
could have ever fought against Virginia.
That's right.
And so when Virginia seceded, he had no choice. But it was clearly about slavery.
Yes, sir.
But it was about other things as well.
Yes, sir.
I thank God every day, and this is going to kind of trade it off, unless Mr. Chestnut has something else. I thank God, I'm going to make this personal. I thank God every single day that I was born and came to live in Fairmont, North Carolina in 1952 with my Aunt Ora, my Uncle Albert, and my other aunt, Aunt Ruth. I was thrust into a world that is not what we have today.
That's right.
There was a lady who worked for us named Emma McMillan. She wore a white nurse's outfit. She cooked for us. She was there every day. If she needed to go to the doctor, my Aunt Ora drove her to Lumberton to the doctor
That's right.
and waited for her to come out of the doctor's office and drove her back to her house. We had a gentleman who worked in our yard. I don't know his name, never knew his last name. I knew he was Uncle Walt. And one day my Aunt Ora said, has Uncle Walt got anything to drink and eat? I said, I don't know, Aunt Ora. She said, go out and ask him. I said, Uncle Walt, you got something to drink and eat? He said, I'll just get some water out of that, a faucet that comes out of the ground.
Yeah.
I said, oh, no, Uncle Walt, no, sir, hold on. So I'd come back inside and get a Pepsi and a drink, Mountain Dew or whatever we had at the time. I don't remember. It was a soft drink.
Yeah.
And make him a ham sandwich. My Aunt Ora insisted on that.
That's right.
Thank God I was raised in a home where racism was not permitted.
Yes, sir.
If I had said a certain word, even in joking, even in jest, so-and-so said such and such, not even me saying it,
Get
I
popped in the
repeat
mouth.
it, I'd have died. I'd have been buried in the backyard. And my aunts and uncle were raised in the antebellum South. I'm not going to say anything wrong about anybody else's family and what they taught and what they didn't teach, but I'm thank to God that I was raised the way I was, because I never had been around it
Yes, sir.
and participated in racism.
That's right.
And that is why I think that Martin Luther King Day, Juneteenth,
Yes, sir.
these are wonderful events, and I'm inviting you, as is Mr. Chestnut.
Yes, sir.
Please come on Friday the 19th to our town community building, our Heritage Center. I promise you, Heather Sievels is a quality person. She's great, and when she puts the program together, it's
gonna be a
been
good
put
program.
together.
Yes, sir.
And she's done all the Martin Luther King events since I've been mayor this time around, and I'm inviting you personally. There's going to be food. I know that'll draw a lot of you out. There's going to be some surprise guests, one of which I know really going to like that. And there's going to be a lot of instruction.
Yeah.
A lot of older people there telling stories,
Yes,
popular
sir.
stories. And I guarantee you, they got some stuff that
Yes,
I
sir.
would probably curl the hair on the back of your neck,
Yes, sir.
because they've been through some stuff.
Yes, sir.
Anything else, Ms. Chestnut?
That's it. We look forward to seeing everybody on Friday.
Friday the 19th, 11 o'clock, Heritage Center, downtown Fairmont. Don't miss it. Bye-bye.